I want to time uh, Ellie's character saying you need fucking help, or I don't need your fucking help, a bit better because that's the clip at the very end there, and I've already cost us AdSense by starting with the F word. So, hello everyone, welcome to episode 3 of season 2, Last of Us. The episode is titled "The Path," and it's something of a respite episode thus far. I come to you, as always, as Charles, otherwise known as CPO. Directly to my right is Gray Poupet. How are you, sir?
Hey, doing much better now that I've got that outdated avatar, as Stiff Kittens is pointing out there. What can I say? I got the packet of bleach. I gotta get back to it. I gotta match my cartoon now.
Outdated avatar. I'm telling you, it's fresh. You have to believe me. Yeah. So, episode 2 was a tremendous deal. Oh, I guess I'll do this like right off the bat, guys. If you're having any concerns, spoilers for I guess episode 2 and episode 3 moving. I hope so, but so episode 2 was a doozy. We had a major character die, and I guess a lot of the pushback from people that didn't know what was coming was more of a how can you do that so soon? And I guess sure, there's still time. We can find out that it was poorly planned. But I don't think people would have that same issue in the first season when Joel's daughter buys it. Like, we spend most of the first episode with her and going to shop for a watch. So do you think it's just the association, the spending a season and 2 episodes with Joel that like have kind of, I don't know, the people that aren't aware of the game, that they were actually shocked and pissed? Is there some, are they warranted in some of their displeasure?
I mean, I think so. Like, we were trying to think about it last week, and I know I I was responding to that too, and then I figured I should probably actually listen to the host and respond to him. But hell yeah, Lucifer. But yeah, I think last week we were really struggling to come up with another show that did anything similar to this. Like The Walking Dead kind of comes up, but there most of the deaths, it's either kind of person you don't really know about, or it's like a season finale or season opener. It's generally a big event, where this, episode 2, it just seems kind of a little mundane for a show. It's definitely not expected if you didn't know that it was coming. So
yeah, it had season finale energy. I'll agree with that. And I guess, to kind of slide into episode 3, if you're new to this and you thought, oh, now we're just going to be an action show, episode 3, no. Episode 3 says no, not quite.
Why would it be just an action show? Like, the criticism of the first season was they didn't show nearly enough of them, of the creatures, so that, that there wasn't this looming threat. So I don't know. It just seems like it is more of the character study. And, when you look at the actual game, like, a lot of it is the character study. To me, it kind of makes sense, but yeah, I think they had to make certain changes to make it more palatable for like a TV audience.
Right.
They really built up Jackson as a character and then put certain characters kind of in peril there. But
well, sure. In a game, you're driving the narrative. Like, whatever you do, I mean, granted, the people that make the game have to build the world around you so that when you choose to do something, something happens. But this is just more, sit here, we're going to tell you what the story is. So, we're kind of passengers as television viewers. And it really, for as much as I thought episode 3 was going to be a flashback episode, like, just kind of simmering with things.
You and Cody had that prediction last time. I think Cody's was that it was going to be part flashback, part funeral. And I think he was even thinking that it was going to be the Joey Pants one, because why would you have 2 separate flashbacks? And I think you were on board with the flashback thing. I just thought, man, for something as big as, Joel leaving the show, I think you'd have to kind of sit with that for a while, and you'd have to see how that affects everybody. So I thought it was going to be funeral for sure, but I didn't see going flashback. Um, Josh Myers in the chat is asking, "Are we thinking episode 4 is the awful one?" I think it might be. They did 3 in the first one. I'm kind of thinking so.
I'm gonna ask to clarify, because are we using the term bottle episode as a contained story or stuck in one place? Because I've heard bottle episode used as two different things. I always thought it was
Fair
like
enough.
people stuck in the same place, and I guess it's being used now as like, a contained story within the scope of the universe, where I guess I understand both uses of that definition, but I don't think like the Eugene episode is going to take place in one location. I think they may focus on Eugene. I guess to kind of further clarify, if you think episode 3 of season 1 is a bottle episode, then okay, I see what you're saying, because episode 3 of season 1, they still incorporated, Joel and his perspective a couple of times, where it wasn't exactly what I've been trained to know what a bottle episode is. But
Josh clarified that he meant contained story, which I assume by bottle they meant kind of like the Bill thing, like it's one contained story in its own episode.
Right.
So
right.
I assume he meant that. I'm thinking that's where they're going, because if not, I don't know how they're going to kind of pad out those final 3 episodes. I think you'd want to go action, action, action when you're in Seattle, but maybe I'm wrong.
Right. So for as much as I guess I thought there was going to be flashbacks, the first half an hour or so and I would say rightfully so, just kind of lets you sit with the aftermath. And the interesting twist that they did that wasn't a part of the game. I'm just going to keep comparing it to the game. I apologize. It takes place 3 months later, which that's not the case in the game. In the game, you're off and running, and Ellie is in a hospital. She's got this fucking tube in her rib cage, and it's gnarly, and she's having these flashbacks, these nightmares of sorts, and like that's the thing that we're brought to with her character, kind of screaming herself awake with these memories of Joel and everything that happened there. And then I couldn't help but think this reminded me of like when we first met Ellie in season 1, when she was like being detained by what was their group? Were they Fireflies in Boston? Fedra? What was that group?
But
where she was locked up?
I'm blanking on what they were actually called.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah,
when they were like testing her to make sure that she wasn't like fucking infected and like saying counting backwards from 10. That like snarky, I've been through this 1,000 times before, but like this disingenuous nature of saying what people want to hear. We kind of got that again, as doctors were asking Ellie questions on how she feels and all this other shit. And then Catherine O'Hara's character shows up for a psych visit, a psych eval, and goes through the motions. And again, Ellie essentially says the things that a doctor would want to hear to get out. And
I like the dynamics of that, because both are kind of lying to each other, and they both know that there's this air of like, well, you're saying what needs to be said, so I'm not calling you on it. But I don't know. I enjoyed that entire interaction. And then when you see Catherine O'Hara come up the next couple times, you can still see that she is knowing of what was going on in this situation, but she's saying all the right things, probably because she's been through it, like you mentioned before.
I like, speaking of Catherine O'Hara's character, I like the fact that in this world, in this, apocalyptic world, certain jobs and certain things that socially come with your expectations of a job aren't the case in this universe. Like Catherine O'Hara's, getting drunk at a little league game, like I,
Mm-hmm.
or getting drunk during a therapy session. Like I don't know if I want my therapist doing that, but
So you'd be surprised at some of the little league games. That's not so out of the ordinary, but during a session, you generally don't see that. Although you never know what they have like in their cups, but you assume it's not whiskey.
Well, they shouldn't be sitting in right field then. Like that. That's a problem.
True.
But
doesn't show confidence in the team. They're never going to get.
They'll never hit it to me.
That big of a hit.
Fine.
Yeah.
Kind of going back and forth. Ellie shows some elements of what I would only call as like sociopath type tendencies, like saying things that she doesn't exactly believe, but knows people need to hear it. She does it in the hospital, and then a little bit later, she does it even harder for a larger audience. And I don't know, does that take away from how we value that character? Because we know that she's just going to say things to get into positions that she wants to be in.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not for me, because you can kind of tell that this is a character who's definitely a survivor and will, in this world you have to kind of do whatever it takes to survive. It seems like she's willing to kind of go with anything. So I don't know, when Catherine O'Hara, straight calls her out and says, no, she's a liar. There's a difference between someone who's lying and a liar. Yeah, for me, it works. And it really works with the traits of the character and the way that she's able to put on a performance in both places, both in front of the town hall and in the actual, hospital bed. So I don't know. For me, it works. It looks like Master Casalis is saying that, yes, it was the Fireflies. So you were totally right. I think I said no, but I can't remember their name. Apparently, yes. And I forgot. I know it's the people who then are associated with the Fireflies, but I couldn't remember if they were the actual Fireflies back at the original base. But
yeah.
Fair enough. I was wrong.
So Dina shows up at the house. Oh, I'm go on.
You get to go through some of some fun game moments as well. You do get the red box, which looks just like the box.
Mm-hmm.
You get the items in there, the watch and the gun, but then you also get an optional thing. I know you were going through it pretty fast, but did you opt to sniff the jacket? Because they included that in the episode.
I did not.
You're missing out. Yeah, so there were fun little things that they kind of added like that were optional things in the game. So that kind of fleshes it out a little bit, but they did kind of change it. So again, it's Dina instead of Tommy here.
I think it's interesting that as far as we know, the watch was not taken. Because I think in the game, doesn't she take the watch? Am I just making that up?
I thought she did, but now I'm blanking.
So as far as the show
they
is
make
concerned,
it very symbolic,
right,
what she chooses.
So, like, if anything, if she didn't, then it points for the storytelling of the series, because the watch is a big deal. The first thing we see is how important that watch is, and Joel wears it after his daughter dies. Now Joel is dead, and that watch is now with his effects, like kind of tying a nice little ribbon around his character. If that's all for his character, I don't know if I'm like misremembering or what, or maybe I'm fan casting, but I could have swore Ellie had taken the watch in the game or something like that, because it was, I guess for us, the audience, it has more significance, certainly in the show. But the more I think about it, literally right now, I think leaving the watch is a nice little way to kind of put bumpers on that Joel storyline. So
you really seem to be hammering home kind of themes that they just kind of touched on in the game, like it just one after another in this, which I think it kind of works for a TV audience, but yeah, I think if they were hitting it that hard, it might get tough as a game. But I don't know. I kind of see why they're doing the changes more for an audience. To me, it works, but for a lot of people, it was a bit too slow and just nothing happened in this episode. Apparently.
Sure. I got criticized for complimenting the themes of this season, and yeah, I'm a nerdy dork, and they're really hitting the themes home, and when there's
Hard.
nothing really to chew on, like thematically, they're really covering different bases and different levels. So Dina shows up after this heart to heart that I guess felt like enough, and there was a complaint about not showing Jackson like in just disarray, just like total disrepair, because just to give us an idea of just how fucked up the town is and just how fucked up everything is that Tommy would need to stay back. They certainly do
And
it.
you get a taste of it. Like you get that very first shot, which is Tommy taking time with Joel, but as it kind of pans out, you get this whole room full of just bodies. And I mean, every person there would be missed just as much as Joel, you'd imagine. So
what did you think of when well, hold on, I'll get to that, Master Casales. So Tommy pulls the cover off of Joel's head and looks, and he makes this like face where he's affected by what happened to Joel. What did you make of that shot? Because they're trying to tell us something with that reaction.
Yeah, it seems to be that he's a lot more averse to violence and the result of it than it appeared Joel was. And kind of some of his lines too, where he said like, yeah, but you don't know what Joel would have done. Like I do. He would have cried. I can't remember exactly how he said it, but essentially like,
he was gatekeeping Joel.
Yeah, it seemed like it. Tommy was saying, he's my brother. I know him a little bit better, and I know what he would have done. And
you haven't seen them live. They're way better live.
He seemed to be differing in Ellie's opinion that he would have just gone out and done revenge. He thinks that he would have been kind of more mourning. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it definitely seems like they're changing the characters up a little bit, at least the Tommy character quite a bit.
Don't know from what we've experienced so far. I don't know what we know about Joel for the last 9 episodes going back to the beginning of season 1. I don't know if his actions in front of our eyes would track with what Tommy is trying to tell us Joel is, because I don't know if he's a pacifist by any stretch. But yeah, when they put Joel's body down, there's coffee grounds put there, and I had the same question. Do you know why? What significance the coffee has?
Oh, come on, man! It's coffee. It's so great. I get it, man. It's something that's hard to come by in this world, so it's something very precious. But in the game, they make much more of a big deal about it. You actually get like some dialogue about how Ellie hates the taste of it, but Joel, seems to love it, even though it's really expensive, very rare in this world.
Oh,
so it meant something to him that she actually delivered the beans, even though she couldn't. She could care less about the beans.
But, and in the show, he like one of their first when they're taking that long trip, he makes coffee, and she's like, "It tastes terrible. It smells like muddy water or something like that." So it's not
nearly as big a deal in the show. They didn't kind of hit on it like you do have to kind of experience it in the game. But it's basically just that. It's his character thing. He likes coffee, which
that's sweet.
I respect him for.
Indeed. Louis says, we found out nothing. We found out Dina is a 6 at kissing. That's very important. Yes, Louise. And Dina also says something else that is not declared in the game. So kind of interesting as far as I'm concerned. But Dina it brings cookies.
Indeed.
A Tupperware full of cookies.
Well, a Gladware. It is not real Tupperware, but yeah, fair enough.
Oh, that bootleg Tupperware, and is kind of softening the blow with Ellie to let her know that she's been keeping information from her, and
which kind of makes sense to me, because in the game it's real abrupt, and there is kind of no healing from the wounds. Like the character even still has a black eye for quite a while, but I don't know. How would you stop her from actually getting revenge? I think one way is withhold information and let her heal.
The first bit of information I don't like. I guess Yeah, I have no real. I can give or take it. The fact that she needed time to heal. You had tubes in your body. It's what she said. And the other thing she said is, "We know they're going back. Why not let them get there?" Which it works for me. It's not like you're going to get on a plane or anything. So,
Yeah, and they're kind of implying that she had like a collapsed lung or something. She was breathing really heavily in the previous episode when the whole attack happened, and then I can't remember what it was. There's like a certain specialist in that hospital scene,
yeah,
and then she had that tube in her. So
she had to do
it
that
seemed,
thing. I forget what
yeah,
it's called. A spectral optimizer.
pulmonologist, but yeah,
There's a thing
whatever
they have
that
to
breath
blow,
test
and
is.
yeah, and you have to blow the air. The ball has to go to a certain point. I had to do that after I had my torso ripped open. So I can't believe the apocalypse has equal hospitality as I do now. But
Well,
yeah,
it kind of
it
makes
was
sense to me.
yeah.
So, if you have an injury that bad, you'd want to heal. I don't know if you could immediately get on a horse and go across the country, but
And the other thing that they don't, it's again, they give you a whole lot of little things. They don't give you a big anything in this episode. They show her training for a little bit,
mhm.
and
And they
Jesse make
tell that she had been doing it. I guess they show that she's not as weak as she should be, just coming out of the hospital, and then she explains that she'd been doing crunches and something else, push-ups, I think.
yeah. Jesse says, "How long you been doing this?" or something like that, and she says a day, and he's like, "That." There's some sort of way to clarify that she's actually been working out a lot longer than
Mhm.
just that moment, and
Which makes sense, and it really hammers home that same theme that we've been getting and that we're going to get on this season. We didn't get it as much with Abby's character in the game. They definitely make it that she turned her body into a weapon and she was really training for this. But
I would say, as far as this season is concerned, we're building the XP on Ellie a
mhm.
hell of a lot more than we are Abby. At if Ellie's going to be jacked up at the end of this season, that would make more sense because she's perfecting sniping and all, and working out and wrestling these people. Um,
Mhm.
if you're going to make Abby a great big jacked character, you might want to start doing that with her too. But um, that's not for today. We didn't see Abby at all this episode. Um,
No.
I'm trying to. Oh, so after they have their little
Oh, but
friend zone situation there, where the cookies are a softening blow to let her know that it's been 3 months and the people that she has all of their information and can completely replicate the wolf design perfectly, even after 3 months. Uh, just a
and
information dump. Go ahead.
she knows what that initialism means. She has prior information from Eugene who kind of lets her know.
Yeah, they're really leaving breadcrumbs for Eugene
Mhm.
a lot. Like I don't think there's been an episode yet where they haven't mentioned Eugene or giving us some sort of Catherine O'Hara. Either she's been in the episode and just kind of a reminder, or they've just literally referenced Eugene and his pot store. Um, I keep thinking, all right, now they have to do Eugene now, right? Um, but the who delivers the information that the council needs to decide on whether or
It's
not there's.
Jesse. So after he's making her do her boxing practice, I believe she brings it up that like she wants the vote, and she seems really pissed off in there. So that's when he kind of passes on the information that you should be calm when you say it. You should write it down. And
Yeah, there's
again,
a
it kind of shows that willingness to not really be honest in a way.
there's a number that's brought up. Isn't the number 16 brought up, that they need 16 people? I don't know
I
where.
think they've got the council of
Is it
say it's
16 people
16.
on the council? Because I remember
I
hearing the
think
number
so.
16. I'm like, why you need that many? But if that's the members, I guess that makes more sense to me. But
Now I'm blanking on the number if it's 12 or 16.
I
I know
I know
they
3
don't get
people
many on
voted
the
yes.
positive votes. Yeah, I was gonna say I know they get 3 votes, but I kind of thought it was 3 to 9, which would be 12, not 16. That part I probably could rewatch. I forget, but it's the same amount that they were in the council when she was telling about the one that was stalking her, the one that got smarter.
I think Jesse stopping by and kind of like tutoring Ellie on what to say, kind of it helped. It was nice. Like, you don't want to say what you're thinking, you want to say what they want to hear. And then Ellie, asks Jesse to promise that he's with her. And one way or another, we technically don't know who voted what.
I think we kind of know, but you're right, we don't know.
So show us. Like, if you want us to know, just show us. Show us the person writing it.
Well, we're gonna have a flashback episode. Who knows? Maybe that. I was gonna say, Luis is correcting us that we're both wrong. They believe it's 11, and it was 3, 4, and 8 against, which sounds right to me. We'll go with the council of 11.
Yep.
Like I said, that's the one number that I'm totally not familiar.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm just making up the number 16 or what, but
we are. Sounds good.
Yes, no, it sounds good. So the council meeting happens, and listen, there's a very important discussion about corn and what they need to do since the events of episode 2, and
it makes
that
sense.
person gets
shut down
on the corn shit. And listen, no
Look,
EFAPing
it'll grow
on corn.
fast, but it's not that nutritious. It's a trade-off, Yeah, I mean, I think it's fun that there are little elements of the community, and of course, like the community meetings. I don't know if you've ever been to one of those where it's like they are the most mundane issues, but sure, everybody needs to be here to hear this out and vote on it.
I want to paint the street light yellow.
It is kind of fleshing out the town of Jackson for me, which now it's not a town. It's totally a big city, which also apparently the cemetery isn't in there anymore. It's 10 miles to the south.
Yeah. So Mr. Corn gets shut the fuck down. We're not discussing, crops or things we need for survival right now. We're talking about revenge here at the council meeting. And, Ellie has a scripted thing that she presents, and it's very, the way her note is portrayed is, I would help you. This is more for us, not so much like I need revenge. If it were any of you, I would do this. It was interesting. Again, I'll use the word sociopathic, but just knowing what, maybe not sociopathic, maybe cynical. Is that a less abrasive terminology to use?
You don't want to be a stranger, right? Like, there's a community thing here. Like,
Sure,
that's what makes us a community. I kind of respect the play, but yeah, unexpectedly somebody else stands up with a whole lot of anger, kind of.
Dude, Bigot Sandwich character is not done just yet, and he gets up and he's full of piss and vinegar, calling everyone pussies essentially. And
they're
like
really fleshing out the Seth character. Bigot Sandwich is more than that one moment.
Seth is also, we don't call him Seth here, we call him Bigot Sandwich. But yes, his name, White Man from Town from Thinner, is also Bigot Sandwich, and his name is Seth in the show. The covering another aspect of how to deal with forgiveness, vengeance, all of, again, it fits into the theme of the season, where this is another way, as far as we know, leading into episode 3, he's kind of a shit, being a bigot. And while they don't agree on that situation, they agree on this one. And later in the episode, we get even more of that. And it's just interesting. It's not that big a deal. No, of course not. But it's extra credit that I think really, really fleshes out the theme of the season, that, there are many ways to handle being wronged. Or
gonna say, it also shows the other side, because it is the either 9 or 8 votes against. So there are a bunch of other opinions out there. It doesn't seem to be the majority opinion that has this revenge top of mind.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I do kind of like that. It is kind of showing that there is another way as well. And you do get that voice in a couple of characters. There's the one whose sister has been killed, and still she's saying, no, we need to move on. We're not going to send our best. We need to actually stay here and build the wall to, you know, we need to further Jackson as opposed to track down some people across the country for revenge.
Yeah, I just covering the nuance of things is, not everything is black and white. There's a bunch of shit in the middle that, yeah, we agree here, we disagree there, but like further hammering home multiple perspectives on a particular subject is really neat. I don't know if it's ambiguous so much as it's just full of nuance. But I'm here for it. It's something that I'm sure in 2 episodes I'll forget about this aspect, but it's like extra seasoning on the thematic purpose of this season. And during that moment, I forget when Catherine O'Hara's character has the discussion. It's right after she was at the council meeting. Oh, is it Tommy at the baseball game?
So yes and yes. So it pans to the upper deck, the whatever you'd call that, the upper area at the courthouse or whatever.
Gallows? No, wait, not the gallows.
Thank you. Yeah, let's go the upper gallows. No, I'm
catwalk?
trying to think of what it is, but the balcony catwalk thing.
Sure.
And while Ellie's giving this speech, you just see this look of like, this is all bullshit from Catherine O'Hara. Like it is kind of that through line that, no, she's a liar. I can see through this. She's still not telling the truth. And then I think it goes to the scene of Tommy and Catherine O'Hara at the baseball game.
Just getting blasted with a couple of brewskis, watching kids play baseball like you do.
Hey man, whatever it takes to get through the game.
Yeah, so I thought Catherine O'Hara was going to be something that I don't know her as, but the baseball game shit, it was like, oh, Catherine O'Hara. She's playing a character I could see her being. But yeah, that's when she says something along the lines of, of course she lied. She's a liar. Or wait, what was the term? I think you said it earlier that some people lie and some people are liars.
Some people lie and some people are liars. Yeah.
And she's a liar.
I dig. I think you're also kind of picking up on that. You're calling it sociopath. I'm not willing to diagnose. I'm no expert.
Oh, nor am I. And I'm not. Yeah, not a sociopath. But
I'm just giving you crap. There's a theme, this expert thing that we'll be talking about later on our channel. But yeah, Louise is saying that they watched the behind the scenes thing and the character playing Maria, so the actress who played Tara in True Blood, that she was a judge before, and I thought she was like a district attorney or something like that before, but perhaps she was a judge. But she is the one kind of leading this and leading the whole legal aspect to this, wanting to actually put it to a vote. But yeah, she's saying that she was conflicted, but also ultimately would have ended up citing yes. That's kind of awesome. I wasn't sure in my mind who the third one was. I kind of assumed it was Tommy and Jesse, and then I kind of thought it might be Maria, but not sure since we don't know any of the other characters on there.
Right.
I kind of assumed that was the 3, but who knows?
They do.
That's awesome.
They do take the moment to let us know that the town has other things to be worried about, and I wouldn't put the corn crops as one of those things. But they've been decimated. It's only been 3 months, so it's not exactly right away. But there's concerns there that they need to rebuild their community there. So it's not. You can kind of understand the perspectives as they've presented it, where Ellie's trying to say they might come back. Tried her best to present it like this may happen again, whereas it's really just let me go eliminate them. But the town is like, we're not ready if something like this happens again. If you leave and if you take a bunch of people with you, we're even more exposed. And I don't know if me, which I wouldn't be able to fight, I'd be like, yeah, can you guys not leave because I need you here? I can understand that.
Come on, man, you can man those barrel dropping machines. You got this.
With my back. I could edit the propaganda video maybe.
Okay, that'll work.
Go fight. But yeah, like it wasn't a slam dunk in either direction, I think, and I think they presented that in a pretty fair way. Then Ellie gets shot down, 3 votes for, 8 votes against, and decides I'm just gonna fucking go anyway, and starts packing up. But I think it was after the court situation that we get introduced to a bunch of head-shaped people with these interesting scars on their faces. That Joker
Indeed.
fan fiction group.
They do not make them seem like formidable foes in this show. That is definitely
Yes.
one thing that they're kind of lacking, because it just seems like they're a religious group of sorts that seems to communicate via whistle, and it looks like they've got some bows and arrows, but they're
Yeah.
afraid, and that's about it.
Yeah. They feel
Oh,
like
other than the
a cult.
Glaswegian smile.
Yeah. The Chelsea smile. Like yeah.
I heard it called Glaswegian, but I don't know. The smile. They've got a smile carved.
Yeah. They're a little culty. The way they talk about the
Prophet.
chosen one who's no longer with us. Prophet. Excuse me.
Well, she predicted the fall, and she was able to help them through it for quite some time. So, fair enough.
Yeah, there was
yeah.
something that they said where like everyone in the group said, so it's I don't know. Someone said something and everyone else was like, so it be written or whatever. I'm totally mangling it, but I was just like, oh, that's kind of creepy. I don't like that. And there's a little
sure.
girl asking questions and learning about the different types of whistles, and like I really felt like, ooh, this is something we didn't have in the game. This is interesting. And she asks for a hammer, and I thought that was going to go in a whole bunch of places there. And we don't know who did the thing, but they all get eliminated.
Well, I think at one point they did yell out like the wolves or the demons. I think they end up calling them both. So we just assume that we know who did this. But
again, I'll say, if you want us to know, why not show us? Like if we
fair
know,
enough.
like we know, then just show us. Unless you're tight on budget where you spent all that money in episode 2, like if you want me to think that, show me that.
Yeah, it
but
would be nice to see that they're kind of formidable foes, but
yeah,
I don't know
they
exactly
like,
how you'd show that. Maybe like a battle with the scout or something, and maybe the rest of them weren't quite as big. As a couple are pointing out, and the Master Sailors is saying the Seraphites were assholes, and in the show they're all sweet and peaceful people. That is kind of what we get, that they're just super devout people. But
and they got eliminated. Like it, as far as we know, they hid when someone came up, and then the next time we see them, they're all dead. And if anything, it kind of, they are used as something of a prop for Ellie's narrative. Like, oh, they even killed kids. Like we know because the girl with the hammer is taken care of, and it's just like, ooh, that's pretty gnarly.
Well,
but
and
again,
it gives you a reason to have the other scene as well, that they're changing up just a little bit. But the one with Dina. So Dina gets sick after seeing the kid.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll try to circle back. I'm trying my best to do this in order, and my notes are shit.
So I think we missed their first night, right? Because don't they see the Seraphites the second day? Or am
no? So we get the Seraphites before Ellie leaves, and then when we see them again, they're dead. So it's like a weird. Meanwhile, back here,
I mean, Cody's got a theory. We don't know that it's not true. We didn't see who took out the Seraphites.
We've seen Joel eliminated, though. I don't know if you're taking the piss with my line of thinking, but they. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out what, like. So the court thing happens, and then the Seraphites happen, and then they like scurry because someone's coming, and then they're like hiding bushes and whatever, and then we're back to Jackson and Ellie, and Ellie's preparing for you know everything but camping, everything but eating. And so Dina shows up and convinces. See, how did you take Dina showing up at Ellie's place when she's packing for her rebellious?
Pretty obvious what she's doing, and she seems to know Ellie super well. She even knew, like, okay, I'm guessing you didn't pack bandages, or
Which
I mean,
is
like,
a good
she
point.
knew all you're packing is guns. Like, come on. At least we need like the basics of provisions before we're going on this. And oh yeah, I'm going with you.
Yeah.
To me, that works out. I kind of dig it a lot, but it is different than in the show. As Cody points out, though, anything could be a dream. You never know.
Indeed,
it was all the dream.
He's being a shit. So there's a couple of things that are different, and further filling out the character of a bigot sandwich, where it ends up he's helping them. The horse that they're sharing, they're only taking one horse, and the shotgun or the rifle. I don't
it's
know
the
my
rifle
guns.
with the scope. His is
Yeah,
better.
he's like,
it's
trade.
a decent trade.
Trade. This one's better.
And that kind of makes sense because, like, you know that she gets the handgun from Joel, but you know, an upgraded rifle. Where would she get that? She was using Tommy's before, so it kind of seems like, you know, somebody would have to give her something with a scope. So
yeah,
for me, that kind of works out that it's him.
It's sweet because if Bigot Sandwich really didn't care for them and really, you know, this is the perfect opportunity to get them out of the neighborhood. Like, yeah, all right, they're in shitty shape there with that weapon. Why would he give them a better weapon if he's not like, yeah, he doesn't agree with a certain perspective, but he doesn't want them dead. Like that was a sweet little thing there that I thought was, it fleshes the character out a little bit more. That Seth character, since you did something nice, Seth, I will call you Seth. It's deeper than just I don't like gay girls kissing. There's
Well, he still might not. You know, we don't really know anything about his preference other than he's on the same side in this fight. He does think that revenge is the thing, and you know, if he wasn't shot by possibly friendly fire, you know, he would be doing this himself. He would probably be willing to go, is what it seems like. So
right.
I don't know. For me, it really works. I kind of dig the redemption of Bigot Sandwich, but you know. It also fleshes out the town and kind of the mixed feelings that everyone has, and this whole angry revenge version. You know, I kind of like that he's the one who kind of takes that on, and we're kind of able to see a different side of revenge.
It's something of an avatar for people can be a lot more than one emotion or one thing, and I thematically, they're really hitting things home. They start like traveling, you know, taking weird I Spy games, but doing it horseback, which is
it doesn't take that long to get to Seattle from Jackson. Apparently, like Wyoming to Seattle, it's what, to the letter N or something. Like, you know, that's not too bad.
How close is Wyoming to Washington? Because I don't.
Washington, a few states away. I want to say 3, but I don't have a map right in front of me.
In the middle and upper left, I'm just like, I don't know. Isn't it all Washington, Montana, like all of those?
It's Pacific Northwest adjacent, but yeah, fair enough.
We don't really know how long it takes, but it's taking them a while, and so they set up shop to camp out, and in the tent, I thought we were gonna get what we don't have so far that we did have in the game, in the pot location, Eugene's pot store, that is.
You get some of it though. You know, you get a ranking. You get like some kind of back and forthness. At one point, she says, "I wasn't that high," so
yeah. So they're talking.
You get tenths of it.
they're talking about their kiss, and Dina's what I would only call flirtatious. There's this like playful, what would you rate my kiss? And I can't help but think Ellie's like not amused by it, at least from what they've shown us. You know, she's kind of like, you know, playing it straight. Like, you know, I'm not. I think she's just kind of like, you know, you were high, you know, whatever. It's in the past. And then there's something else that happens that doesn't happen in the game, and it feels like old school sorority girl type shit. But Dina says, "I'm a straight girl. You're gay,"
Oh,
and starts asking about the kiss. And it's like, why would you just outright say you're straight there? Because that's interesting. Like if you have,
yeah.
you know, if you're bi, you're bi. Why would you say you're straight? It's an interesting thing to do.
She's done that a few times on this show too. I couldn't remember if it was that big of a deal in the game where she's like, "Well, you can come with me to the dance as friends" or whatever. But it seems like she was really hitting that hard in the show,
Yeah,
and then
it's
she's
like
kind of hitting that hard again here.
deceptive friend zoning shit right there, which is
But at the same time, you know, Ellie seemed to really enjoy the kiss, but it seems like she's kind of negging a bit, where she's like, "It's a 6."
it's just
And you know, it seems to kind of get under Dina's skin. So I don't know. It seems like they're kind of doing this game with each other.
yeah. But from what I perceive of that moment, Dina's laying on the like the flirtiness hard. Well, so much so
For
that
sure.
you could watch it with me. Members can watch the episode with me. In that moment, I'm like, oh,
Perfect.
we're gonna get a sex scene right now. Like this is the IOU from the pot place, but they don't. And I don't know, me that doesn't want to deal with that stuff. Like I don't think you need to have nudity and sexuality and romance in everything to tell a good
Certainly
story.
don't need it, but I
No,
mean,
of course not. But it
it
seems
was
like
promised in the game. Come on, they could step it up a little bit.
did we need it in the game?
I mean, it's a coming of age story as well as a revenge tale. Come on.
Hold that thought.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on a revenge, nice.
Apologies, Marcy. 17 Danish corner talk. Hold on, I saw another one. Let me just get that out of the way now. Hayden, $5 super chat. Thank you. What's up, guys? Just bought Last of Us 2. Fit into
Nice.
play for the first time. Loving the show and the conversations you guys are having. All love to you, Hayden. Enjoy.
Yeah.
And if you don't know anything about the game, drop in and let us know how things are going and when. So Marcy dropped a chat on the Spot Fund page, which is still going. We'll get to that later. I want you to read this on stream. Charles, I just wanted to say that my father can't take chemotherapy because he's too weak. So in a couple of days, my father's going to die, which is sad. But both me and my mom, both hopeful he's going to die, hopefully soon, because we don't want him to suffer any longer. It's going to be different. Sorry?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought that was where it was ended. Please continue.
Yeah, I'll it's going to be different and hard in a couple of time, but me and my mom both agree we still need to move on, even though it's hard. Yeah, that's I don't
fucking rough, man. That's literally what I just went through with my grandma. I know it's not the same as your father or whatever, but it's like, man, she was not in a good place, and it was kind of prolonged, and it's like you just kind of want it to end for them so that they're not in this prolonged suffering. It's kind of shitty hoping, well, I hope they go quickly, but you know, I think we all get it. Unfortunately, it's a deeply human thing.
Yeah, for the sake of pain, you don't want someone you love to be in pain, and I get it, and my thoughts and feelings, of course, are with you. So much so that Gray's even disappeared. That's how much he's with you. He's going to be with you.
It's true. I had to, you know, get down for a minute. But yeah, man, that's tough. That is definitely not anywhere that you want to be. Our thoughts are definitely with you.
Yeah. I don't have anything to say that would, I don't know, make sense or make you feel any better. I don't think. I just want you to stay happy, which I'm going to be also because of my dad's wish. Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's easy to follow in someone's wishes, but it for their sake, but it's hard to genuinely do it without factoring your emotions into it. Um,
For sure.
yeah, hang in there. I like anything I can say is just going to be so reductive at this point. But um, apologies. Uh, wow, how do I pivot away from? Hey,
Penis to vagina.
Perfect. I think it was
So-
subtle enough. I think it works.
so Cody says she's intriguing Dina, but not sold yet.
Mhm.
Do we? So
Well-
if that's the case, this might be my one little note for Bella Ramsey so far. I don't know if I'm reading someone who's mutually interested, because doesn't she turn over and kind of like face the other way to go to sleep? Like that's a
Yeah,
little.
it does. But there's also that moment where it's like, we're going on a revenge mission. Okay, cool. Wait, one horse? And then she kind of perks up a bit at the idea of one horse together. So I don't know. You're getting glimpses of it, but you're also getting her like, but I'm straight. You're gay. So,
Mm.
I don't know. Oh, apparently we only read half of the
Cody
comment.
says, I think Ellie is still broken from the death of her friend she was in love with. Oh,
For sure.
oh,
And then
yeah,
she's
the
also on a
mall.
revenge mission where it's no time for love. We've got some Abby to hunt right now.
Yeah, all right. It's weird, but she still had that kiss, though. She still had that kiss while mourning her friend. So it wasn't Joel just yet, and yeah, that does a lot. But
It's complicated.
yeah, nuance. See, nuance. More. Wow, Louise. Dina is a
Well, I mean, she did kind of
prick-faced-
throw it in her face that she hooked up with Jesse again in the meantime.
Yeah,
It's like,
while
okay.
while Ellie was in the hospital, Dina confessed to going back to the old neighborhood there. And knowing what I know about the game, I think I know what purpose that serves. But as of the 3 episodes, they're kind of friend zoned, and Ellie's not really feeding into it. That grade my kiss 6 out of 10, and I got to tell you,
I think she's feeding it just enough. Like, that pissed her off enough to be like, what? What do you mean 6? I'm just saying, she's
Yeah.
playing a little game of her own.
I Isabella Merced, I believe, is Dina's the actress that plays
I
Dina.
believe that's correct.
My star of the episode. Since Alien Romulus, if you put anyone in a horror movie exclusively for their like scream reactions, she's got to be at the top of the list. I really enjoyed her in Alien Romulus, and I'm really enjoying her in Last of Us. And this most recent episode, I thought she was the star of the episode. And I don't know how you feel about her character or the performance just yet, but I'm all over it.
Digging it. I think she's picking up a lot of the slack that they're kind of leaving from kind of distancing the Tommy character. It was kind of brought up in the chat that we don't know that Tommy hasn't gone on like a side mission already. I guess we don't know that, but I just see that they're giving a lot of his stuff to Dina in this season, and I'm okay with that. I think it kind of makes sense and why she would be so gung ho to be on this mission. It seemed like she really was a part of Joel's life as well, or Joel was a huge part of her life, and she seems to really know Ellie.
I think the dynamic is being shifted here too. I think what the show has shown us thus far is from here forward, Ellie might be the Joel in this little dynamic, and Dina might be season 1 Ellie. And I don't hate it. I don't know. There's some naivete to Dina's character that like she still talks about things like a sheltered person would. Like you think about the apocalypse and the world just going to shit. You wouldn't be talking about like boyfriends and going back to this and kissing grades. And it's just like
I don't
Dude,
know,
I've
man.
killed people. Like that should be a big deal.
But hormones are still a thing. Like they're like 19. At least I know Ellie's 19. I guess I technically don't know Dina's age, but
Mhm.
you know, I think the world could be falling apart, and I still might be kind of interested in that type of relation-y, crappy weirdness. Hormones, man, they suck.
That's the fun part about Jackson, like, Ellie's, drawing and listening to Nirvana like, a fucking 19-year-old would. But outside of Jackson, the world's in upheaval. Um, and, Ellie is someone who's had gnarly experiences and talks about the first time she killed someone, and it's just like, fucking hell. And here's Dina just like, yeah, that's the fifth guy I was with. So there's like this different
Might be
dynamic with their experience.
might be weird to kind of go there, but I don't know if you've ever read the Diary of Anne Frank, but even she during like the most horrible of times was kind of interested in the whole relationship thing and kind of still had the whole hormone thing going on to the point that there was even some editing down of kind of interesting places. That might be in poor taste, but like I do think that
The tone of this
that would
episode
still
is
happen.
the tone of this
In
stream
poor
has
taste.
been all over the place. So it's
Yeah,
really
well,
fun.
somebody had to bring it up.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It doesn't seem unrealistic to me. Like I do think I could have been in an apocalypse, and I'd probably still be thinking about girls at 19.
Yeah, it's fair. Eh, I can. I don't know if I'm thinking a thought, and I'm having second guesses, but I'm going to say it. To a certain extent, I can relate to Ms. Frank because wasn't she ducking authorities for a while?
Yes.
So in the near future, I feel
She
like
had some time in her hands.
yeah, I don't not to the extent that she had to deal, but relatable. Poor taste, just poor taste.
Yeah.
Please don't cancel me.
Sorry, I brought it up.
Yeah, I thought about it and I should have stopped, but so Master Casalia says, I think Kaylee Spenny would have made a perfect Ellie.
I think she auditioned, didn't she? Like from what I understand, a whole lot of people did. I
know Kat Dever, she auditioned for the person who's playing Abby auditioned for Ellie and didn't get it. And
she got it. It was originally supposed to be a movie, and she was cast as Ellie, and then she aged out of the part. So they kind of brought her back. It's my fault, Cody. I just, I like to bring it up whenever possible.
I like to bring. Oh, brother, what's left? So they back to Dina and Ellie. For fuck's sake, they're making their way pretty swiftly, if I do say so, and they come across the Seraphites.
Yes,
or what's
the
left
aftermath.
of them. Yeah, and Ellie's kind of, alarmed at what she's seeing, and Dina is like sick, like literally sickened by it. But I don't know if it was the morning when that happened, but I
saw some dew on the bushes. I think it might have been.
I
it
think
seemed early.
if we're going by the game, she might have some morning sickness effects there, which spoiler, it's not Ellie's. I can't click on that, Cody. Fuck it, I can click on it. Cody says, speaking of Dina being a prick tease, how about Anne Frank? Yeah, so they haven't outright. Well, I mean, I guess you wouldn't know that you're pregnant at this moment, especially in the apocalypse on the road in some nowhere town. But I think that's the first step to let us know that Dina is preggers. And they also told us that she's been keeping relations up with Jesse. So
yeah, there was a reason why she mentioned that, not just to like stab Ellie in the heart one time, but yeah, I'm guessing that was a little bit of backstory that we're gonna have to piece together.
Yeah. So I think for what we know of the Seraphites in this episode, they're kind of culty. They're a little weird about their ways. They're kind of, they hide. They're scared of their opponent, and they got eliminated. That's all we have about them. It kind of
Well, they had
neuters,
hammers and bows. They seem to have rudimentary weapons. It doesn't seem like they're gun favoring.
but they were intelligent enough to have this like whistling communication system. You would think they'd have like some art of war way of fucking capitalizing on
Item or something. They seem not
capitalizing
very...
on someone's ogre strength, hide in a tree and whistle a certain way. And then, I mean, in the game they were a pain in the ass, man. They were such a pain in the ass in the game. To see it in the show, it's just like, oh, these are a bunch of bitches. What the fuck?
Monday morning quarterbacking this, but come on, like, you're just gonna totally give your position away if you just like tromp through a whole bunch of bushes. Like, you gotta gracefully go through it and kind of hide behind them. They were just all like panicking, running through the field.
To show the wolves as like the dumb ogre army person, and the Seraphites as these like people who hide in bushes and use bow and arrow and hammers and other things, like, at least strategically speaking, you'd be like, okay, there's something of an even match here, where the information we have about the Seraphites so far is they hide and they got fucked up.
And there was multiple bullet calibers to use, so it seemed like it was multiple people who took them out. It wasn't just like one angry sniper or something.
Yeah.
It definitely seems like it was a squad of someone.
And so Ellie and Dina come to the conclusion that it's the wolves that did this, and the fact that they're taking out kids and using all different types of ammunition. They're like, their legend has gotten a hell of a lot more scary for Ellie and Dina. Do you think there's a chance that what the conclusion that Ellie and Dina have come to isn't the case? Because again, I'll say it, why not show us? If you want us to think that the wolves did it, why not show us?
So you're on Cody's side. You think it was Joel.
It was zombie Joel.
Good point. The only thing that I can think is that it would have cost more money to show a gunfight, and they're kind of trying to keep this as more of one of the tame episodes. It's the time to breathe between the action, I'm assuming. But I don't know. The only thing I can think is there is something that they're holding back. Otherwise, why the hell wouldn't they show it? So I really don't know. The only thing I'm thinking is budgetary restrictions, but maybe I'm wrong. Because also in the game, I believe you come across a clicker, don't you? Isn't that what Dina gets sick over, if I remember right?
Oh, I don't remember.
I could be wrong, but I thought she got sick after discovering like a clicker or something. So the only thing I can think is possibly just budget with makeup and everything. They couldn't afford like a full battle, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think and Cody kind of brought it up too. We kind of like had a couple of conflicting but in the same neighborhood type of ideas for what could be happening. There could be like this rogue group that are like an offshoot from the WLF that are like doing some gnarly things that the group proper doesn't approve of, but they're like like the WLF's SS or whatever. We'll just keep bringing it back to World War II.
Yeah, as long as we straight in there. Let's
there's not money to be made in this episode, so fuck it. But like maybe not WLF proper, but some sort of like offshoots, unsanctioned little side group that are doing things that are very unorthodox as far as what the army.
It did say that they had a code, and it doesn't seem like this would fit the code that Abby kind of laid out. But then again, as she's laying out the code, Joel is unarmed and she's still attacking him. So I don't know how willing they are to put the code aside if there's like a revenge thing. who knows? Maybe the Seraphites struck first. Who really knows? I'm assuming we're going to know more about this in the near future, but I don't hate the idea that it's like a rogue group or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it otherwise, I don't understand why you're being so vague and so like
It does seem like something is being held from us.
There's a lot of times in this episode specifically where it's just like, all right, just show us. Like, if you want us to know that, just show us. And the last shot of the episode is just a fucking army, just tanks and a bunch of people just storming down a street. And they are the WLF. And, that's what we're left with is this imposing military.
Almost Star Destroyer shot that just keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
It just, okay, it's going to end. Nope, they're still going.
Yeah.
I kind of dig that. It kind of shows you these odds that seem a bit overwhelming. Like we don't know that's everybody. That seems to be just one squad of it. And damn, that's way more than 2 people could take.
See, and this, I'm going to be a visual storytelling bitch, but, with that shot, there aren't words, people don't have lines, but man, they get their point across. Like, this is a formidable force that, they're not 2 people on a horse. This is going to be an Empire versus Rebels type thing. I like that, that Star Destroyer reference, Gray. Overall thoughts on episode 3 titled The Path?
I dig it. I think it's pretty nice for character-wise. I think you get to know a lot more about Gale. I think it shows you a lot more about Ellie. And then it really shows you a lot about Dina in this. It even kind of shows you a bit of Tommy and Jesse in there that, they seem a little bit more reluctant. Jesse is way more by the books, but, perhaps he has a reason why he would want to go after Dina at this point. And then with Tommy, it kind of makes sense, especially with, with him having a family of his own now, which is a little different than in the game. Yeah. You can see the reason why he would want to stay back and why he'd want to protect this town that is definitely reeling from this huge event that happened to him. It kind of makes sense to me, but there's definitely a lot of changes made. Like It's a Me Fabio is saying that he doesn't necessarily like either Joel or Ellie from this, and they're definitely different. The casting of Bella or Pedro Pascal, they're different from the game for sure. I'm kind of liking what they're bringing to the roles. Like I have the game and I love that acting in the game. Like it is some of the best actual like acting to be captured for a game, but man, they're doing something a little bit different. Pedro's not playing this as stoically, and I kind of it seems like it's the least Pedro for me.
I'm going to be a bit of a shit here, but the gaming crowd that really want the voice actors that play these people, granted that they've had different roles in the first season. Do we not have that same mentality for their actual characters? Because the voice of Joel is not it's not the guy who voices Joel that is the character we play as. Troy Baker,
you
right?
Can get him on the podcast.
Ashley Johnson is not what Ellie is. So if we're like that married to, what is it, the voice or the character? Is it their image or their voice? Because it's their voice. That's not the person who's delivering that. I want something different, and we're totally getting something different. If I want the game experience, I'll just re-experience the game. Like it's weird with adaptations, and I'll kind of swing this around to you, Gray. There have been a bunch of deviations, not just with cast and things.
A ton.
There's been a bunch of things
Tommy
so far,
and Jackson being its own like character at this point. My God, like that actually seems like a real city, perhaps the last real one left. I really kind of like some of the changes that they're making. Some of them, I think they heard a lot of the feedback from the game and kind of what things were abrupt, and then also, could you do that narrative where, you just have to sit with what happens, but you know nothing about Abby? I don't think you could do that. I think
Yeah.
you would have to kind of change it so that you at least kind of know who it is and why they're doing this, why this, tragic event happens. But
Yeah, the order in which they've rearranged things has made this much more palatable for me. And while I didn't enjoy the game, I certainly respected and appreciated it. The way they're telling this story, I don't know how you enjoy a story about revenge, but it's a bit easier for my psyche. I don't I don't know how to define it, but like the fact that Tommy spoiler for the game. Tommy is the one that first goes. Like he's the one that first goes to find Abby and her group. So unless they're doing some reverse engineering here, I don't think that's going to be the case because like they don't have that council thing, that like, courtroom setting type thing in the game either. So, he sits on the council. He's way more involved with the town of Jackson in the show than in the game. And as far as the show is concerned, I certainly don't disagree with the choices they've made as far as leaving Tommy back because he does have a family. And another thing that was just a little 2-minute thing in the premiere episode of season 2, you had Joel like having moments with his nephew, which is Tommy's son. That's not something we experience at all in the game, but maybe Tommy, wants to tend to his family, which is also very believable. It's just fascinating because if they were to course correct and make it more like the game, I don't know, for the sake of the narrative, I don't know if it's going to work, but I think the fact that I really don't know everything of what's happening is frustrating, confusing, both.
Yeah, and the game pretty thoroughly. I mean, maybe you didn't, get 100% on everything.
I'm not platinuming shit.
But, I think they are adding certain things in there. Like, I knew the story, even though I hadn't played the game. I not only watched your playthrough, but then when the actual controversy happened, I watched a very extensive one that did platinum everything so that I could kind of see what the hell is going on with it. And just, I don't know if you could have that interest with what's going on. Like the way that they lay it out narratively, it really is interesting in the game. And, you've got to kind of sit with this character and then they kind of try to humanize it, but you're not getting any explanation. And then, man, the way that they kind of actually show you it and make you kind of live through it, it's powerful, but I don't think you could do that with the TV narrative, and I don't think you could lock people in.
Yeah. It's me, Fabio, says, I didn't want the voice actors. I personally wanted actors who had both the appearance and voice. Okay, it's something different, and that's fine, but I'm not enjoying it subjectively. That's fine. And I hope me being a shit, I'm not trying to be a shit to you. It's me, Fabio. It's just like the discourse online. Like, all right, Bella Ramsey doesn't work for you, but like, that's it. Like, that's all that needs to be said. It doesn't work for me. Like, don't get into like weird shit. Like, it's not.
I really only knew her from Game of Thrones, and I didn't think that was going to work out like at all. And Pedro Pascal, also, I mainly knew him from either Mandalorian or Game of Thrones. So it's like, really, he's going to do it? And then he started becoming more and more popular, and it's like, okay, now he's playing Pedro Pascal. I didn't anticipate either of these really working out, but I'm kind of digging the way that they did it. But I can understand how somebody wouldn't. Joel is such an iconic character, and he's not playing it the way that he was in the game, for sure.
Yeah, I think they're in a situation where they can't win for losing. Where the big complaint about part 2 was I don't want to fuck Abby, she's too strong. Now they've kind of made her a bit more. I'm paraphrasing quite ridiculously. Now she's a small figured girl, and now people are like, that's not what the game looks like. And it's like, what do you want us to do?
Yeah, the same people who really hated a lot of 2 when there are these changes that kind of make it work a little bit more. They're like, hey, but that isn't like the game. It it really seems like I hated that, but this isn't like that, so you screwed up. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think there's a lot of people who are looking to not like this, and a lot of the talk is how much viewership has kind of dropped off. I think they were at like 900. I think it was close to 1 million for the premiere, and then they got close to that for the second episode, and then almost like half that for the third. So, but it was kind of an event that people kind of thought was going to happen in the first episode, and then it did happen in the second.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
My shorts, my little summaries for shorts, that they don't perform well for a bigger channel. But as far as my shorts are concerned, my little updates and summaries do all right for my little podunk channel. So
oh, come on. Your channel's podunk. What's mine? Mine's nothing.
Dude, it's all relative. Cody's in the chat, just like scramble. The adult is here. Let all those cockroaches fall under the. I don't know, but like, there's interest. I don't know if ratings is the proper way to do things now, especially with people.
No, and those are just the ratings for live. Of course, there's no way to measure, like how many people are doing it on the high seas or how many people are streaming it afterwards.
Yeah, I did it on an app, which I don't know if that counts. Like I didn't tune into HBO.
I think even then it has to be if it's live is the only way that it counts. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Who does that nowadays? Why would you watch on their schedule?
They announced the third season, and that all I'm concerned with is if you have a story in mind, finish it. Like, don't HBO, don't you dare cancel them. Let them tell their story. And we're already getting a third season, so maybe if this season doesn't go well, they can tell them, yeah, wrap it up at the end. That's all I'm concerned with. I feel for people who fall for a show and like really want to see it through, and then it just gets canceled like after 3 episodes, just like, but I was liking that. Yeah.
There's quite a few of them that have kind of done me dirty that way. It's like, come on, but why did I invest that time?
Yeah, I mean, going back to what was expressed in the chat, like if I had my way, if I'm just like fan casting, Josh Holloway from Lost would be Joel.
I haven't seen him
Sawyer.
Much. He would probably take you up on it. I was going to say, Sawyer, man. He would totally take you up on that.
Yeah, and I guess I would have. I do like the idea of Kaylee Spaney as
I would
Ellie.
take her as like any role. There's been a whole bunch of kind of like smaller characters. Like there's fan castings for like Mistborn and stuff. Oh, she would be an awesome Ven in there. But I think anything you need, kind of a smaller female actress. Kaylee Spaney. She comes to mind. She's killing it.
I think retroactively, what was her career when the first season was being cast? Like, she only started picking up after Priscilla, so I don't know if she really had any sort of sway as far as casting is concerned.
From what I understand, I believe she was in the auditions as well, so they might have been able to get her.
Jacob says, that's reductive. The complaint isn't that's not what the game looks like. The complaint is that Dever isn't believable as someone who can tangle with grown men in a fight. Have we experienced anything?
I've heard both of those. So I have heard that this is showing that they knew that they were wrong to have that character that buff in the first place. But then I have also heard exactly what you're saying, that she's not believable as somebody who could actually tangle with grown men.
I agree. I agree with what you said, Jacob. We haven't experienced Abby's character as anything but a one-track I'm getting revenge with Joel. If that is not the case moving forward, I will probably be on, more inclined to agree with what you're saying. But so far, she had a one-track mind. She had a group of people help her, and they didn't get anybody else. As far as show versus the game, the show, Abby, we don't really have much of her as far as why she would be large or small. So not yet. I don't think that's fair yet, Jacob. Her body size doesn't really matter just yet. Anyone can use a shotgun and a golf club when they have 8 people with them. So
it's definitely going to change the way things kind of play out, though. She definitely doesn't seem like as big of a threat, but like in the first one, she was surrounded by a whole. Well, that's true.
Who knows? She might find a container of steroids. Yeah. Just to make it make sense.
I don't know. In the cabin, she was surrounded by people with weapons and stuff, so the threat was kind of numbers and guns. It kind of makes sense, but we'll see where they're going in the future. They might slightly tweak each scenario to give her an advantage, but not physically.
Yeah,
But we'll
and
see.
as far as the way they got tangled up, Abby was way overmatched by the horde. So I agree. As far as what we've seen so far, Abby's not someone who I would perceive as a strong, formidable foe. So yes, if somehow she's Abby from the game the next time we see her, I would want some explaining for that. But yeah, the internet has been really
She's had 3 months to
hyperbolic.
train. I'm just saying. You
Oh,
don't know what she could do in 3 months.
fair. Although, why would she be training if she's gotten rid of the thing that she wanted to do? Like her.
You know they left Ellie behind. It's kind of like the Kill Bill moment. It's like, okay, I know you're going to want your revenge, and
Okay,
you have earned it.
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued one way or another, but I also am content with what they've shown us. But there's a lot of things that just are different. Extra credit things that we didn't have in the game, and I don't know. Do you think this next episode is going to be flashback heavy?
I kind of think so. I'm trying to think. I think so. I don't know where you'd put it other than that. The only other thing I can think is maybe we're going to get a different POV, so maybe like Abby's POV or something like that. They certainly haven't put us in her shoes as much as the game kind of does, so I don't know. But I can't think that they would do like an action one and then we're going to go flashback. I think right now they're set up pretty good for a flashback one.
Yeah, someone said it earlier in the chat that we have that subway because there's that
Yeah.
dark redly lit thing that I tend to agree, but there's a lot of stuff that they've kind of teased in trailer footage and things where it's just like, all right, so you have the museum flashback where they do Ellie in the spaceship thing. That's got to come up at some point. Eugene, this is why I hate knowing things like about casting and things. Like the Eugene thing, I wouldn't even think about, but because I know who Eugene is and like that's happening, like I can't help but think, all right, when are they getting to this? There's a bunch of like flashback stuff that surely they've got to cover it in the next 4 episodes, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah,
Yeah, I
there's
think it's
4
only
episodes.
7 for the first season. So I would assume they're going to go 3 flashback 3, but we'll see. I could totally be wrong. You'd assume it's got to end with kind of a big action piece. I don't think you'd want to put a flashback in between those, but
Yeah, if we're going by the
get to flashback moments from the subway thing.
I think if we're going by the game, which is it's hard to judge that now because we have somewhat large distinctive bifurcations from the game where I would assume like if the second game is split into multiple seasons, I would assume the movie theater would be season 2 finale. The showdown at the movie theater.
Sounds right. I don't know where else you'd cut it. So I assume we're getting to there, but I don't know. I guess it could give us a POV from Abby's perspective, like what the wolves are doing, but we'll see. There's a lot of ways that I could see them kind of handling an episode this season, but I don't know. I'm not sure exactly where they're going with it, but I think that's where they're ending for sure.
How do you feel about the season thus far? Are there any ups or downs since we last spoke?
For me, it's totally working. I'm watching it with my wife who doesn't know anything about the game or anything, so I'm finding it hard not to spoil things for her. Like, they changed. Oh, okay, wait, I gotta wait for it to play out. So yeah, but seeing it kind of through new eyes, I can see why they're doing some of the choices for the narrative. For me, it's working out, but they could always mess it up. It's 3 episodes into this, but I kind of have faith in what he's doing. I think he literally, Druckmann, I think he got a lot of the feedback of why people didn't like the second game. And it seems like he's made some really sensible choices to kind of justify some of the things that they were doing in the first one and to make it a little bit stronger. So I'm digging it, but also there's, some legit moments where I don't know exactly what's going to happen. Like that whole council thing. I didn't know exactly what they were going to vote on. I didn't know exactly what they were going to do with the whole Jackson thing, where both Tommy and Maria were kind of, in peril or in the way of peril. I kind of assumed that they were going to be taking one of those out. So I'm kind of digging what they're doing. I'm kind of digging the changes, and we'll see if they can keep that as strong. But I hear some of the people who are saying that this was a slow episode. I think you kind of need
That's
that
fair.
after what happened in the
Yeah.
second.
Hey, like, I don't know, like for the people that thought that this season was going to be just full action, I don't know how, but you needed like, I don't know how you can love Joel as a character, be pissed that he's gone, and also want full action after that. Like, yes, we need to breathe and kind of feel the emotions of losing a major character like that. So like it makes sense. I guess there's like one or two things where I'm like, I'm with you. I have a bit of a, just a pin in this, but like the things that they, like the court, not showing who voted isn't that big a deal for me. If they somehow came back to that, I would feel better. The Seraphites not showing who took them out. I'm curious to know why they did that. And
it might be coming back to both of those.
I hope so.
You do have both Jesse and Tommy, who are still in Jackson, they might be talking about that vote. And then who knows? We might be figuring out exactly what happened to the Seraphites in the next couple episodes.
Yeah, man. So those of you who are on, excuse me, those of you who are members, you're able to watch this. I watch it somewhat live, like 5 minutes after, because I watch it through the app. Sunday night, if you want to watch the next episode with me, members get to do that about 5 minutes after 9. So feel free to do that Sunday. You're about to say something, Gray? I'm sorry.
I was saying based. That's awesome. Join in. Watch with Charles. Otherwise, he's lonely. Don't make him be lonely.
I'm lonely anyway. Gray, what do you got coming up?
Yeah, I will be. Hey, we're in May now. This month, this magical month of May, I will be launching a new show. So, stay tuned for more announcement of that. But hey, if you just can't get enough of me and you can't get enough of Charles, in about 20 minutes or so, we're going to be on another channel arguing the greatest argument of all, the greatest debate. This settles everything: pancakes versus waffles. If you ever wanted to know what's better, you will know if you come over to YouTube at That Darn Kidda for the thinkers. We will settle this once and for all. And, there will be some very hurt feelings. But, it's people from like 4 different countries that get together, disagree about everything, usually leave amicably. Not the last few weeks, and not this week, because I'm sorry, those dirty pancakers, they got to get out of here.
It's all out war. It's a me, Fabio. $4.99 British pounds. What are you over here at 3:30 a.m. and you're up watching us? Cheers. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And if you want to keep the party going, just head on over to That Darn Kiddish channel. We'll be there as a part of a bigger group in just 20 minutes. Otherwise, if you we'll see you next week, or if you're going to watch with me Sunday, appreciate it. Everyone in the chat, everyone's saying waffles. It's going to be a dominant night. For Gray, for Gray, I've been Charles. We'll see you next time. Toodles. No.